Well, tonight, your Trailblazers are victorious as they make it look a little hairy for the first half and then flex on them, just like Arnold Schwarzenegger used to do on stage at the Mr. Olympia. Flex. Show them what you're made of. That's what the Blazers did in the third quarter, and then they held on in the fourth to get a 119 victory over the Utah Jazz. They needed that third quarter. It was rough going until that point, and then the offense absolutely exploded. For those of you who paid attention to games in the recent weeks, it reminded me a lot of that game against Memphis, where at half you're like, this Memphis team that's sitting most of their team is keeping this game way too close. What's going on? And all of a sudden, third quarter happens. Boom. Offense takes over. Game flips on its head. That's what happened tonight in this one. Once again, Blazers win 135-119 in the final game before All-Star break. This is the fifth quarter. If you'd like to join the conversation, multiple ways to do so. You can grab your phone, hit us up on the phone line, 503-248-0620. You can grab your phone and text us. 88528 is the text line. And of course, you can go to youtube.com, type in Rip City Radio, and join the chat there. Now, before we got on to the airwaves here, I was kind of laughing with Brendan because, like, you ever watch a game and you saw it happen, you saw the final score, but like it still doesn't hit you. And then I look at it again, I'm just like, oh my gosh, 135 points. And Brendan's like, yeah, what about it? The Portland Trailblazers have scored 135 points 7 times this year. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 times. They are undefeated in those 7 games that they have scored 135 points or more. Fun fact, 3 of those 7 games are against the Utah Jazz. They beat them when they scored 137, they've scored 136, and now 135. So for this Blazers team, whether you have Denny Avdia or not, or any of your guys are healthy or not, just play the Utah Jazz and things will feel good because the offense seems to roll when you do. Now let's take a look at how the game played out tonight. As we talked about, the Jazz had a 31-28 lead after the first quarter. It was 63-61 at halftime. Oh boy. What's going on here? The Jazz are winning at halftime. This game might not be fun. You can't do this. You got to get a win going in to the second half of the season. No. This is not right. As Bart Simpson would say, Bart no like bad medicine. Bryce Sensabaugh had 19 points. He was an absolute bucket in that first half. Drew Holiday was trying to match him. He had 16. And the Blazers, 11 turnovers to that point. Second chance points, they had 10 points in the paint, 28-26. It was a pretty even game all the way around. Nothing was really standing out. And then the third quarter happened. In that third quarter, when the Blazers needed something to stick, it did. They outscored the Jazz 40-23 in that third quarter alone. Blazers shot 5 of 11 from beyond the arc. They were 13 of 16 from the free throw line in that quarter, 11 of 22 from the field. In the third quarter, the Blazers shot 50% from the field. Meanwhile, Utah shot 29%. Portland also had 20 rebounds in that third quarter. Not too bad. Not too bad at all. Drew Holiday, 9 points, Donovan Clingan with 8 in that quarter. And that's what they needed. They outscored Utah 34-33 in the fourth. Utah did, to their credit, get that game a little close. You're like, oh no, it's a 2-possession game. Yikes. Well, if they let this go, we've seen this happen a few times this year, where it gets way too close for comfort, and all of a sudden you let one slip away, and you're sitting there going, really? This happened again? What are we doing here? Trailblazers almost legend, Rip City remix legend, Blake Hinson, making his NBA debut, recently signed to a 2-way deal with Utah. He had a 3-point jumper with 6:47 left. It made it 111-108 Portland. after they had got out to a big lead and used that third quarter to really lock the game down. At least you thought. And then from that point on, defense locked in, offense picked back up. They got right back to scoring and were able to grab the 135-119 victory. Again, for a second there, felt it was a little bit closer than it needed to be. But in the end, the Dubs feel good. And the Blazers go to the All-Star break with a victory. Taking a look real quick at the individual box score in this one, starting on the Utah Jazz side of things. Like I said, really close game in the first half. Second half, Blazers locked it in. But there were still things, I think, if you're a Utah Jazz fan, you like. You didn't have, obviously, no Walker Kessler, who's missed most of the season. No Jaren Jackson Jr., no Lauri Markkanen, no Keyshawn George. Meanwhile, Ace Bailey still goes out there, gets you 15 points. Cody Williams gets you 9. Kyle Filipkowski had 15 points as well from Isaiah Collier. Bryce Sensabaugh ended with 28, 11 points from Blake Hinson, again in his NBA debut. And Svi Mikhailuk had 14 points. He was 4 or 5 from beyond the arc. On the Trailblazers side, Sidi Sissoko had 8 points. Tumani Kamara, 14 points to go with 8 rebounds and 3 assists. 23 points, 18 rebounds from Donovan Clingan. Absolute domination from DC. In fact, the 23.18 rebound performance and a career high 7 assists tonight for DC. Not too bad at all. It's his 21st double-point rebound double-double of the season. That's the 10th most in the NBA, and he leads the NBA right now with 14 games of 15 rebounds or more. Not bad at all from DC. Drew Holiday, 31 points, 7 assists, 9 rebounds. That was season high 31 points. Most he's scored as a Blazer, obviously. Stands as the most points in a game, regular season or playoff, since his career high 51 on March 29th, 2023. That according to Trailblazers PR. So a very good night for Drew Holiday. They needed it because when the Jazz were getting buckets and the Blazers needed something, he was keeping them in it. And then when everyone else started to get hot, that's when they pulled away. Jeremy Grant had 18 points, 11 points from Vit Krejci, 15 points, 4 assists, 6 turnovers, though, for Scoot Henderson. So as we continue to watch that, we need that number to come down, that's for sure. And 11 points from Caleb Love. Rupert and Young Hansen each scored 2. Blazers ended the night with 21 turnovers, so still far too much for anyone's liking. That number needs to come down. But points off turnovers, despite the fact that they had 2 more turnovers than Utah, they still had 4 more points off turnovers than Utah. So Utah wasn't able to capitalize on them like we saw just one night ago. That is always good. Minnesota capitalized like crazy. They had 43 points off turnovers. So a big difference here tonight. Bench points was pretty even, 41-37 in favor of Portland. Points in the paint, 52-48 in favor of Portland. Second chance points, though, 23-12 in favor of Portland. Why the big gap? Because Portland absolutely dominated on the glass. Is something we kind of talked about in the pregame show. When you don't have a big body anymore like Walker Kessler, when you don't have Jaren Jackson Jr., who's one of the best rebounding big men in the entire game, you need to take advantage and go ham, and they did. They out-rebounded Utah 52-38, including 19 offensive rebounds. Also, we went back in the pregame show. We talked about the three-point shot. Through the first 2 games that they beat Utah, they had good three-point shooting nights. Way better than their season average. They came into the game as the worst three-point shooting team in the NBA. The first 2 wins, they're both shot close to that 40% mark. Tonight, they did so again. 39% from beyond the arc. And again, we've been talking about this stat. You've heard Tom Habistro say it on the radio and on the TV broadcast about when this team shoots, at or above league average for 3-point shots. They're one of the top 10 teams record-wise. Well, that bore out again tonight. The 3-point shot started falling. They were able to get out to a lead, and they were able to hold it. So shout out to the Blazers team. They didn't waver. I like that. I think it's easy for us fans and everyone else to look at halftime and go, uh-oh, you're losing. What's going on? But it's basketball. You got to play all 4 quarters. You got to get through. That's what they did tonight. Picked up the 135-119 victory over the Utah Jazz. If you want to weigh in, tell us what you thought about this game. 503-248-0620 is the telephone number. You can text us 88528 or go to youtube.com and type in Riff City Radio, where my man Alex is just hyped because his college football 26 team, Wyoming, took it to FIU and advances to the national championship. Congratulations, Alex. And Ryan is on the DC hype train. DC was a monster tonight. Absolutely he was. Absolutely he was. Ryan says during the timeout at the beginning of the third, a fan made 4 3-pointers and won a car. Nice. Were you at the game, Ryan? Were you at the game? Did they show that on the broadcast and I missed it? Was that when I was listening to the radio? Did they give you a highlight? Regardless, anytime you see one of those events, win big money, win a car, any of that, and they actually happen, it's always cool. Like, everyone gets hyped if you guys see the guy actually make the half-court shot. Win a Toyota. Most of the time, you just hear the big, loud groans from inside Moda. Oh! And then Todd Bosman was like, oh, you were straight on. Just about 20 feet short, Bob. like sometimes it cracks me up. I'll tell you this. I take a half-court shot. I might not make it, but there is at least a 95% chance I'm hitting backboard. Might put too much power into it, and it might go Arvydas Sabonis laser style, no arc at all, just boom, right off the backboard. But I ain't putting it short. 95% sure that I'm not putting it short. Crazy things could happen. You never know. All right, this is the fifth quarter. I'm your host, Chris Burkhardt. Once again, you can follow me on social at Chris J. Burkhardt, or you can join the conversation. YouTube.com, type in Rip City Radio, or text us. 88528 is the text line number. We're going to take a quick break out in the fifth quarter. When we come back, it's time for our drive of the night, shot of the night. We still have Coach's Quarter to get to, as well as a game ball. All that and more coming up here on your home of the Blazers, Rip City Radio, 620. Oh, I see, Ryan. I see. You're Captain Jack Sparrow in it. Makes sense. I was going to ask your opinion on the arena had you been there with the new renovations that they've done. I was there when because they did a series of renovations in the late teens, and then they redid it again because of the hockey team one more time. But I like the improvements they've made to Delta Center. That's a cool spot. That's a cool spot. Plus the fact that it's like really intimate and built up. Like it's steep in there, but it's really cool sightline. It's a good spot to watch a game. Anyway, I'm going to take a break real quick. We'll be right back here after this commercial. Demers right there. Tell you, City Sissoko with a bucket in his last game of two-way eligibility. That is right. Today was game 50. So now the Blazers enter All-Star break with a decision to make, and that is, do they cut someone to create roster spot for City? They want to keep him involved in the rotation moving forward after tonight's game as well. Caleb Love has 5 games left, so that question may be having to be answered as well. I don't think that this is as important as it was a month or so ago, but still important nonetheless, because they both played their tails off and deserve some recognition for that. And I'd love to see him get locked in. City's been great. Caleb Love has been phenomenal. He was great again tonight off the bench, giving them a spark when they needed it. 11 points, 3 of 8 from beyond the arc, hit a couple big ones when they were starting to make their run. So we'll see what happens with them. But Joe Cronin does have a little bit of time to think, because the Blazers do not play again until a week from tomorrow. Next Friday at home against the Denver Nuggets. That's going to be a good game, a good way to start the second half. Still going to be rough. Got about a stretch of about 10 games here where they might go about 500, and then the rest of the way is a whole lot easier. Keep in mind, my man on the other end of the production today, Brendan Slaughter, will be in the host chair on Friday, because I will be out. OSA swim championships. Got to go be a man of the people. Now, this is the fifth quarter. If you want to join the conversation, 503-248-0620 is the telephone number. 88528 is the text line. And of course, you can go to youtube.com, type in Rip City Radio, and join the chat there. Now, we did get a text earlier in the show from our man, Preston Charles Highfield, Esquire, Professor the Fourth, whatever his nickname was, out there in Texas, listening, driving between Austin and Dallas, having some fun, asking me for my honest opinion here. And that is, as I pull up the question so I can read it to you, he doesn't want me to lie. And here's the thing, Preston, I don't lie. I shoot from the hip and I give you my true feelings. He says, I want to hear your honest take. Would you rather have the Blazers make the playoffs or get into the lottery? Is the best case scenario for the franchise that we lose in the play-in this year? Here is my take for you, Preston. I think that's a very good question, and I think that people are on two sides of the fence. You got neighbor A and neighbor B, and the fence is right in the middle. I don't know which house you live in, but there's a lot of people who like the lottery. Oh, it's a stacked draft. Get some nice young talent, help the back end. There are people who like the playoffs. I am one of the people who like the playoffs. You look at the current standings, updated as of this victory for your Trailblazers. Right now, the play-in in the Western Conference, 7, 8, 9, 10, Phoenix, Golden State, Portland, and the Los Angeles Clippers. The interesting part is what happens with the Clippers. They have won one in a row to go into All-Star break, but trading James Harden, the availability of Kawhi Leonard, trading Ivica Zubac, all those things factor into a team that might not be as good down the stretch as they had been over the last month and a half. Golden State, do they acclimate Kristaps Porzingis there in time? They got rid of, didn't get rid of, but lost Jimmy Butler due to injury, got rid of Jonathan Kuminga, which wasn't really factoring into the rotation anyway. They don't have a ton around Steph Curry. What are they in the long run? Right now, they have just a 2.5 game lead over the Blazers. Do they win more than the Blazers down the stretch? We went through those numbers yesterday. I believe I had this Blazer team at 18 and 11, roughly down the stretch. 18 and 9. So there you go. Do they win more than Golden State? Do they catch up? Then you have Phoenix right there, who has a 5.5 game lead over those other three teams. I don't think that changes. I think, though, that Portland does stand a realistic chance of getting to 8. So then that gets to the real point of your question. Would it be better for them to get into the playoff and advance? Keep in mind, if they get the 8 seed, they only got to win one game and they're locked in. Or is it better to get to the play-in and lose so you're back in the lottery? I think it's better to win. I really honestly do. And the reason behind that is you have, for the most part, you have the core that you want moving forward. You know that this core moving forward is going to contain Toumani Camara. It's going to contain Denny Avdia, Donovan Clingan. I would argue one of Scoot Henderson or Shaedon Sharpe. I still think there's plenty of moves to be made to build this roster out, and it may take one of them to do it. Shout out to Brendan Slaughter. He was, or it wasn't Brendan, excuse me. Sorry. Too quick of a shout out, Brendan, even though I shout you out all the time. But Alex, who was talking about his Wyoming football team, talking about like, would you make a move for like Zion in the summer? Now I get there's plenty of polarization on Zion, but I was sitting there going like that idea though is interesting because Portland needs to make a swing. Go get that next big guy to put in there and just really feel it. And if you go to make a move, and I'm not saying you go get Zion, I'm just saying that was what was thrown out in that conversation. But if it's Giannis, or there was the rumor for a minute that they might be in on Anthony Davis or whatever, the point is if you're going to be in on one of those trades, it's going to take either a Scoot or a Shea in that deal with some of your other assets to probably get it done. So that's in the future. Point is, if you get into the playoff right now, even if you get bounced in 4 games against Oklahoma City, I still think there is so much value in that right now. We all know that playoff games are different. They're a different pressure. The officiating is a lot tighter. The rotations are tighter, a lot more contact, a lot more physical. I want Denny and 2 and DC and Scoot and Shea and City if he's signed in time. I want those guys to feel that. I want them to know what a playoff series feels like. I think that is absolutely valuable to a young team. I am not a big fan of continue to just, the lottery. Oh, the lottery. I don't like that. Because at some point you have to get out of the lottery and get your focus where you want it to be moving forward. This year they've done that. How can it be about winning, Chris? They're just a play-in team right now. We talked about that at the beginning of the year. I thought if they made the play-in, that would be a successful season. And right now they're fully entrenched in that. Are some other teams tanking and helping that out? Yes, but also they have put themselves in a spot to get in there. I like that. Alex in the chat says, drafting players half the time is just hoping a player pans out. Cough, cough, Young Hansen. Yeah, there's a lot of people who don't like that Young Hansen pick. Derek Queen, Cedric Coward, those things are all hindsight is 2020 because they look good now. That's why I'm a big fan of working. You did your parts with the draft and you got guys that you like. You did a couple trades and you got guys that you like. I think trading is the way to do it at this point moving forward because all your trades to this point have still been for unknown commodities. You didn't know what you had in Tumani Kamara. That was part of the Dame trade. You didn't know that Denny Avdia was going to end up being an all-star. But look at how he's playing now. But at some point, I'm a fan of trading for those big names that we threw around because you know what they are. If I go out and trade for Anthony Davis, if I go out and trade for Zion, now I know that there's the injury risk. Keep in mind, hey, Zion's played 30 games in a row now, people. Watch out. But you also know that those guys change the game when they're on the court. And the reason I like that is because you know what the commodity is. There is no hope this guy pans out. Hope he's great. If you want to know how much of a crapshoot the lottery can be, look at the fact that one of the most impressive rookies this year, not rookie of the year candidate, but a guy who's been extremely impressive, is wearing a Blazer uniform right now. And he was an undrafted rookie, meaning nobody took a chance on him in the draft. It's a crapshoot. So the idea that the draft could be 50-50, you could be the Dallas Mavericks who come in with super, super low odds and luck into the number 1 pick. Or you could end up getting the 12th overall pick and you're just like, oh, cool. We're a lottery team, but for what? If the difference between getting the 12th pick and the 16th pick is, 4 extra games, I want the 4 extra games. Because getting that experience to be in the playoff, in that heat, in that environment, like if you're the 8th seed and you have to go in to Oklahoma City, that place is stellar in playoff atmosphere. I was there for all those games during the 2019, 2018s. Anytime you played 2017, I was there in the regular season. 2016, I was there in the regular season. In the regular season, they're sold out, great atmosphere. Now you get to the playoffs, that place is fabulous. It's loud. It's crazy. It's a tough place to play. And it's cool to watch Damian Lillard, even though it was a home game, wave bye-bye to him. But again, Donovan Clingan, Denny Avdia, Tumani Kamara, all those young guys, super, super valuable to get into the playoffs. You get bounced in 4 games against the defending champions, you still come home with something had been learned. You learned a lot through that series, and you know exactly what it means to be a championship team and a playoff team, and then you tackle the offseason like crazy, knowing what that experience felt like. And I know for a lot of guys on that roster, like a Damian Lillard, very first time he tasted playoffs. Remember the famous, for the first time in 14 years. Oh gosh, yeah. You taste the playoffs, you want to go back. You want to go back as many times as you can. So yes, I think at this point, when you have the young core that you like, and you still gotta get some pieces in, but you have the core that you like, that getting into the playoff is insanely valuable. Couple texts. I love the fact that the text line is popping off, so let's look at these. The first one, never practice losing. We're not the Jets and the Browns of the NBA. Let the chips fall where they may. Playoffs where magic can happen. You never know exactly. And to be clear, he says, why would you want AD trash? I'm not saying I would want Anthony Davis. I am saying that those were the type of rumors that you were hearing. Big emphasis on rumor. Never thought Portland was in play for Anthony Davis. I was just using that as an example of if Portland were to go make one of those big splashes for those types of players, that one of those young guys, one of those young guards, likely Scoot or Shea, would probably be involved in those. Those are the two, those teams want young assets back, and that is the area where everyone's been looking. That's why they're rumored in every single trade. I wasn't saying I was advocating for AD, just using that as an example. And then another texter, Sharp should definitely be traded this summer. Too injury prone. He doesn't love the game enough to put the work in to be great. I think he loves the game because he's great. It's just sometimes I don't know. I want to see more from him. I want to see the motor rev. I want to see pedal to the metal. You know what I mean? So I'm with you. Like I get that. I think he has the potential to be great. He's obviously a great scorer, but when you take possessions off on defense and you see Coach Tiago or Coach Billups prior to that kind of yelling at you to get back. I mean, the guy was taken out of the lineup last year for being lazy on defense. That's frustrating, and you would hope that they can fix it. we beat OKC, especially if SGA gets hurt seriously. Yeah, well, I don't want him to get hurt seriously because SGA is great. But what happened? What if you do? What if you make it into the playoffs? Something crazy happens. You strike lightning in a bottle, and you're the Warriors over the Mavericks, the Nuggets, and the Sonics. You pull the 8-1 upset. Crazy things can happen. My whole point is I think getting to the playoffs is valuable. And to your original text there, as the same person texting, never practice losing. I hate that. That's why I don't like tanking. Put your best foot forward. And if you're not good enough to win games, you're not good enough to win games. I don't like tanking at all. I want to try to go out there and win. And I hope the Blazers do that. So Preston, driving from Austin to Dallas, listening in all the way in Texas. Thanks for the question. Hope that answered it. I just want them to keep winning. And it's nice to go into All-Star break with a dub. Absolutely, it is. This is the fifth quarter. I'm your host, Chris Burkhardt. If you want to join the conversation, 503-248-0620 is the telephone number. 88528 is the text line. And, of course, you go to youtube.com and type in the chat where Patrick wants to let the world know that FIU can't win the big one. All these guys with their college football 26 video game talk. It's a lifestyle, man. It's a lifestyle. We're going to take a break here on the fifth quarter. When we come back, we're going to head to the coach's corner here from head coach Tiago Splitter. We're going to hand out a game ball. Gee, I wonder who that could go to. Not the guy who had a monster game or anything. And then we'll get you ready for All-Star break. And, of course, tell you what's coming up when you can expect game day, the fifth quarter, and the Blazers to kick it all back off next week. But before we go, it's time for our shot of the night.
Coors Light, mountain cold refreshment. Choose chill. Time for the fifth quarter shot of the night on your home of the Portland Trailblazers. 620 Rip City Radio.
Now top for Holiday. Ball fake, drive, stops and kicks to Scoot for three. Yes! Scoot Henderson from downtown. He's got 15. Was it 2 Utah run prior to that? And the Blazers back in front by 9. 111-102.
Welcome back into the fifth quarter. Chris Burkhardt here with you. It is time now to head to the coach's corner. Let's go down to Utah, hear from acting head coach Tiago Splitter.
We made a couple mistakes there with the matchups, no running back, losing your guy. So we fixed it. Got a better, solid defense, and just took care of the ball. We still, had 19 turnovers, something that we got to get better, something that we got to focus on. And that third quarter, I think it was the big difference. They scored 23, we got 40, so that was the difference of the game there.
Very physical game just to watch. How do you feel you guys responded to that?
Yeah, it's physical, and also a lot of teams are playing small against us, stretching a little bit DC out of the paint. I think he did a good job tonight contesting those shots and contesting the rim. So I think DC was tremendous on defense, together with Drew on offense. So.
And with DC, career-high assists, 7. What did you like about the way he was sharing the ball?
We know that he's a good passer, and he find his teammates, and we want to see more of that. I think he has a talent with that. He's taking care of the ball as well. He's not just throwing the ball all over. So, 7 assists and 0 turnovers is great.
You mentioned Drew's big night tonight. What did you like about his shot selection?
He was aggressive. He didn't think twice. He attacked the rim. Took advantage that they play with a smaller team and went to the rim as well, to the paint, and made money there.
Trying to push all the events?
I would try. I'll also, take a couple of days off. But, yeah, I would love to see the guys there competing, playing, rising stars and three-point shots, and the All-Star with Danny. So it's going to be fun.
That game, too. Thanks, Coach. Congrats.
Thank you.
And there you hear from head coach Tiago Splitter. A couple questions there about the weekend. You should have some fun this weekend. You get Young Hansen and Donovan Clingan in the Rising Stars game. Damian Lillard taking over, looking to go ham in the three-point contest. And then, of course, Denny Avdia making his all-star game debut, which is pretty awesome. Can't wait for that. I did think it was funny, though, because I was listening to Chad earlier, and he and I were talking as well about about Dame being in the three-point contest. And we're like, you know what this reads as? This reads as a guy who is getting closer to 100%, not quite there yet, but is just jonesing to play some basketball and a chance to go out there and show off a little bit without risking injury. He's going to take it, and I can't wait to go see him out shooting out there. I saw him warming up a few games ago at Moda. He looks good. The shot is still there, my friends. It hasn't changed one bit. So seeing it this weekend in action should be pretty fun. All right, we heard from Coach. We did everything else we need to do except one thing. It's time for a game ball.
Who is the MVP tonight for the Trailblazers? It's time for Game Balls on Fifth Quarter, live from the Coors Light Studios. Coors Light, choose chill.
All right, time now to hand out a game ball. And I'm actually going to give out, I've been doing this for a few games just because I like to always give one to the guy who comes back from injury. And then I end up giving a second one away to the guy who had a great game. I'm going to give 2 game balls away today, but one of them is going to have nothing related to this game. First off, for the actual game tonight, the game ball is simple. The game ball goes to Donovan Clingan. 23 points, 18 rebounds, career high, 7 assists. He also had 3 block shots. He has been lighting it up this year. Got to give him credit. The rebound has just been insanely good. Like, he has been so much better on that end. He was good last year, but he's still improving, and he's putting up numbers like this, which you absolutely love to see. As PR tweeted, his game tonight is the 21st point/rebound double-double of the season, which is the 10th most in the NBA. And he has a league-leading 14 games with 15 or more rebounds. So just a massive game from Donovan Clingan. He's only getting better, and that should scare pretty much every other team in the NBA. So game ball goes to DC. Now, we're going to have another game ball in a sec. As we do, we're going to go around the league, tell you what some scores are, because there was a couple other games tonight. And when I mean a couple, I just mean there was 2. The Lakers grabbed a 124-104 victory over the Dallas Mavericks, and the Bucks grab a victory over the Oklahoma City Thunder, 110-93 in that game. No SGA, no Jalen Williams. They were going pretty quiet. They're just easing their way in to the All-Star break. But the story of that game is not the win or loss. The story of that game is Nikola Topic. Nikola Topic makes his NBA debut in this game, plays 12 minutes, gets his first bucket, ends the night with 2 points, a rebound, and an assist. Now, what makes this worthy of me going to a completely different game and handing out a game ball? Well, for those of you not familiar with Nikola Topic, he was drafted 12th overall in the 2024 NBA draft. He missed all of his rookie season due to a knee injury, and then starts ramping up, and they find that he has testicular cancer. He has to go through chemo, get all those procedures done, get back into shape, and he finally got to a spot where he could make his NBA debut. And to go from missing your entire rookie season because of a knee injury and then getting dealt the blow of cancer, which has just got to be so physically and mentally draining, and just to keep pushing forward, and to finally make his MLB debut the NBA debut with the defending champs. It's pretty freaking awesome. So Nikola Topic gets a game ball as well. Sorry for the slip of Major League Baseball. Got it on the mind because Brendan's texted me over here because I made a college football 26 reference, and he's like, if they brought this game back, I'd buy it right now. And it was NCAA college baseball, which was an awesome game. I think they only made 2 of them, but it was fun to play it and hear like the metal bats. It was great, and it was built on the same engine as MLB MVP baseball 05, which is like the greatest baseball game, if not greatest sports game ever made. Sorry for all you MLB The Show fans. MVP baseball 05 tops anything they're dropping on the PS5 right now. I will battle you on that one. I will battle you on that one. Ryan says, I don't think there's ever been an injured player in the 3-point contest. Well, maybe there's about to be one. He's going to do it right now and win it. We shall see this weekend because it is All-Star break. Blazers get a nice time off to heal, get ready for that second half, and hopefully win more games than they lose. We talked about this yesterday. I have them at like 18-9 the rest of the way. Well, today they got one of those wins, so hopefully they go 17-9 the rest of the way. Get this thing done, finish above 500, and get one step closer to a playoff. Like, I love the question for Preston earlier. That's why I think a playoff series is super, super valuable for this team. And just getting into the play-in, it's a step in the right direction. We all thought, for the most part, they would be a play-in team, and that's right where they are. I think Mike Richmond said it on his Locked On podcast that, you know, these ups and downs, the days where sometimes they're just overwhelmed by a team's talent like they were against Minnesota, that's par for the course for a team that is trying to build and is where they want to be, where they're being competitive in a lot of these games, but sometimes they stumble and they fall hard, but they're still going in the right direction. And the fact that they're sitting there 2 games below 500 this point of the year, realistically have a chance at going above 500 the rest of the way and ending the year there, that's a real good spot to be. All right, that's going to do it for the 5th quarter tonight. Once again, Blazers go into Utah, grab a 135-119 victory over the Utah Jazz. It was the final game before All-Star break, so the Blazers get a nice little rest up here. A couple Blazers will be at All-Star weekend. I mentioned it already, but just in case you hadn't heard, Young Hansen and Donovan Clingan will be in the Rising Stars game. Damian Lillard will be taking part in the 3-point contest. And then, of course, Denny Avdia, health pending, will be in the All-Star game. And then the Blazers will rest up. They do not play again until Friday at home against the Denver Nuggets. Enjoy that. This is what we got on tap for basically the rest of February into March. At home against Denver on Friday. On the road next Sunday against Phoenix. Back home against Minnesota, and then a 5-game road trip at Chicago, at Charlotte, at Atlanta, at Memphis, at Houston. Then you come back home, Indiana, Charlotte, and Utah. That is a stretch of winnable games, my friends. I can't wait for them. Once again, final score, Blazers 135, The Jazz 119. Blazers will be back in action Friday, not tomorrow, a week from tomorrow, next Friday, February 20th, against the Denver Nuggets. Tip-off for that game is at 7 o'clock, which means my friend Brendan Slaughter, who will be helping me out that day, will have Blazers game day for you starting at 5. Blazers win. It's All-Star break. Enjoy it, Rip City. We will talk to you Friday, February 20th with Blazers game day with my man Brendan Slaughter starting at 5. Got to say it twice so you guys remember. A week off feels weird, but rest up. It's not just the players that need a rest. The voices need a rest on the radio. The fans need a rest too. Get ready because the second half is going to be fun. We can't wait for it. Rip City, we'll talk to you on the next one.